to be able to hear it. Once everyone else plays. We'll also get a little louder when they start talking because some sound that comes from the speakers over there. Are we pretty legit?
County Mayoral Candidate Forum. It's a pleasure to see you all and to be with you again. My name is Alex Dennis. I'll be serving as your moderator this evening. And on behalf of our host, 101.5 The Ride in the Dickson County Chamber of Commerce, we want to thank you all for being here. We also want to thank the candidates for your willingness to serve the community. It is something that is to be held in the highest regard, and we appreciate you being here again to participate tonight. Tonight's forum is designed to give voters an opportunity to hear directly from each candidate about their experiences, their priorities, the vision for the future of Dickson County. And our goal is to provide a fair, respectful, and informative discussion that helps residents make an informed decision on Election Day. Before we begin, we're going to go through some of the ground rules so we're all on the same page together. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. And to help keep everyone on time, you'll receive a 30-second cue. That's going to be right here from these young ladies in front, followed by a stop sign. And in lieu of World Cup, I thought I would bring a red card just to give you guys a hard stop if you can't see it. I thought you would get a good game. Because last time we did this, I was a one-trick pony. So now we have all the help that we could possibly get. We're also going to have other questions that will rotate. We'll start on one side, so every candidate has an opportunity to be the first. And this time we did something a little bit differently. We reached out to the candidates and asked them to provide questions that they would want to answer as well. So we have community input as well as candidate input as well. We asked the audience to refrain from clapping in between just so that we make sure everyone gets all of their time that they deserve so they can answer the questions. But the format for tonight is going to begin with a 2-minute opening statement from each candidate, and at the very end you'll have 3 minutes to kind of wrap it up and tell everyone why you should be their next mayor. All right, so let's go ahead and start this off. We are going to be starting with you, Mr. Shepard, and then we'll work our way down. So the first question tonight, let me get my sheets in order here for you. We're going to be talking about vision and leadership. So what do you believe is the most needed change in Dickson County government today?
Just quickly look into your intro,
or you should start with your intro. You followed directions so well. Maybe on the third time I'll go without a hitch.
No problem. I can do either one. So welcome everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. It shows a lot of commitment from you all as citizens. My name is Ben Shepard, running for county mayor as an independent. And my background, I grew up here in Dickson County. My parents, Martha and David Shepard, many of you may know, ran a small pharmacy business in the community and were active participants as volunteers and elected officials. My dad served as state rep for 16 years from 2000 to 2016, and I helped him with a lot of those campaigns when I was living here. So I got exposure to politics there. Graduated from Dickson County in 2003, student body president. And me and my wife went on to University of Tennessee, Knoxville together. And I got my bachelor's in engineering degree, and then decided, I was co-oping at NASA at the time, and decided I wanted to go into the private sector and get my master's first. So I went to Duke University, me and my wife got married, came back to Tennessee with a master's in engineering and management, and then we started raising a family and we moved back to Dickson. So here we are, we've got 3 kids in the school system. She's been teaching here for the last 16 years. I've been doing professional engineering roles for the last 16 as well, and do some coaching on the side with some of the youth, maybe some of your kids or grandkids in the audience. So Dickson means a lot to me. I'm doing this role because I want to represent everybody. I'm running independent for that reason. My 4-year plan for Dickson is, first of all, make sure we got a great school system, make sure we have safe communities, make sure we have the amenities that folks are looking for to move into our community, and then prepare for growth and not necessarily react to growth. So we do that by building out infrastructure ahead of time, looking at the numbers and trying to gauge where the pinch points are coming, where the roads are getting clogged, where the trash services are bad, where water and sewer infrastructure are needed. So we'll talk about these topics tonight, but I appreciate your time, and I'll give it to the next candidate.
I'm Caleb Ray. I am a lifelong Tennessee resident, but not Dickson County. I'm originally from Gibson County, just a couple hours west of here. Lived in Cookeville while I went to college at Tennessee Tech, and then settled here in Dickson County almost 10 years ago. Truthfully, when I first moved to Dickson County, I thought this would be just a stepping stone. I'd be here for a little while and then maybe move on somewhere else. And it wasn't but maybe a year in that I realized Dickson County was home for a variety of reasons. It's a great place to live, it's a great place to work. I have worked downtown under a company called Carroll Inc. before, starting my own tax firm in Charlotte. And so Charlotte Tax and Accounting on the Square, I remain a partner there, not managing partner, stepped down to run for mayor later last year. I preach with the Rock Church of Christ. That's what brought me to Dickson County in the first place. A church that's been in this county since the 1850s, earliest records we have here. And I've been blessed to be a part of this community and work. I serve as the president of the Dickson County Cancer Auction. When I was here last time, I was begging you to come out and support us, and you did. We appreciate that. We have a great year this year. But I also serve as treasurer of the Renaissance Players, another organization that's been in the Dickson area since the 1990s. And so I'm grateful to call this place home. But in that interim period while I was in college, I worked for the Department of State, Secretary of State Trey Harkin. And during that time period, I assisted 39 different municipalities and 17 different county governments in my day-to-day work. Prior to that, I worked in the city of Humboldt. And so I had several years of government experience and working with different entities and agencies. And so I'm excited at the possibility of bringing that knowledge and my financial background as my #1 campaign priority is a balanced budget and managing the debt of this county. And I look forward to sharing more about my vision as we go through the questions this evening. Thank you.
I think you should be ready to rock.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. All right, so I'm Danny Williams, and thank you all for coming out tonight. For the ones that if you haven't been to one, this is the 6th one that I've done, so I feel like the community has done a good job in getting the message out and informing everyone of the election. So again, thank you all for coming out. I want to thank Ms. Jenny and her staff at the chamber, and also again to Ms. Lori at the 101.5 for putting this on. Also, I am the Republican nominee. We won the primary in May, and I want to thank all of you who come out and voted in that primary, and especially the ones that voted and supported me. And if you didn't, I hope I can earn that vote in August of the general election. I ran as a Republican because I'm a conservative, and those are my beliefs. And also, my experience, I have served as the mayor of White Bluff for 8 years. I'm currently finishing my 6th year on the county commission. I've owned a business here in Dickson County for 25 years with my brother. And my vision for the county is to keep the taxes low. We have a lot of elderly people and retired people that move here, and they want to be able to stay here. And so my vision and my promise to them is to work hard every day to keep the taxes low so they can continue to live here in Dickson County. Also, my background is in growth. I know how to manage growth. When I was the mayor of White Bluff, we had a 20-year growth rate, and we managed it well without a tax increase, so I know how to do that. And at the end, I'm a big supporter of public schools and want to continue supporting them. So thank you.
Good evening. My name is Reginald Weaver. I'm probably the only true independent sitting at this table. I've been here in this county for 64 years, so I'm a lifelong resident. I have a master's degree in business administration. I have training in management and leadership. Pastor a church in Waverly. I work with the homeless in this community. I also run a business, Bridge Builders, Interventions, which is my heart. Spent a lot of time working with people who are not quite together mentally or physically, or in their lives are kind of off track. And I take pride in making sure that people get all of the necessary help that is available to them. My plan for Dickson, how I see Dickson is property tax-free Dickson. I know that there are 9 cities in America that have a form of tax structure that doesn't involve being heavily taxed when it comes to your property. I'm just excited to be here tonight. Like I told Alex, I'm what you see is what you get from me. I'm honest. If I promise you something, I try my best to get it done, and I'm just ready to go.
Thank you. Okay, let's jump into the first question now. We'll go with you, Mr. Ray, okay? Vision and leadership. What do you believe is the most needed change in Dickson County government today?
Yeah, I think this question is something we need to honestly consider about what could be done differently in Dickson County government today. We're in a great financial state, or have been for the last several years, but when we come down to it, I think we're lacking a good deal on transparency. You know, what's going on at our county commission? What do we have being voted on? Are the commissioners fully aware of what's going on? You know, where I grew up, the county commission meeting lasts anywhere from 1 to 2 hours. Dickson City Council lasts about 1 to 1.5 hours. Our county commission lasts about 20 minutes on average. And so why is that happening? What could be done? What could be spoken more so we as citizens know what's going on at the county level? We've got a county website that's not always up to date and easily accessible with information. And so I think we need to do better about being able to disseminate information so that we know who is making decisions in Dickson County on our planning and zoning board, on our wastewater board, on our library board, on the different situations, so that we can have easy access to know who to talk to about our concerns as citizens. And I think if elected as county mayor, that would be one of my first priorities, is increasing transparency, getting more communication out there, helping residents know and understand what's happening at the county level so there's not confusion in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely, and I think you have to turn your back on. I don't want you to forget. What do you believe is the most needed change in Dickson County government today?
Yeah, so I think the number one most pressing issue, and I think everybody would probably agree, I've been on the campaign trail for 8 months, and everyone is talking about growth. You know, how are we going to manage the growth? How are we going to protect the rural areas? People move here because they love the quality of life we have here. And so one of the things that I have believed in and wanted for a long time is for us to have a full-time planner in the planning and zoning office. We currently have a consultant, and as I do work all over Middle Tennessee, I see the other counties and cities, they have a full-time planner. And so this will help us plan for the future and make sure that we continue to keep Dickson County, and the county especially, the rural areas, is what I really want to focus on, is how we protect the farmlands and make sure that we don't have urban sprawl. And so that would be my number one issue, and I think that's the biggest issue that we have facing us. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Weaver, would you like me to repeat it, or are you good? Do you want me to repeat the question, or are you okay? Okay. What do you believe is the most needed change in Dickson County government today?
Well, I can agree with Caleb from the standpoint that transparency seems to be an issue here in our county. But more than that, I think that our county lacks from participation from our public. I think that the next mayor has to make it his priority to involve each and every citizen in this county so that we're representing. I do believe that the mayor's office is a representation of the whole county. So we need to make sure that we are bringing everyone to the table and not just a chosen few.
Thank you.
So over the last, I'd say, year now, informally and formally, as part of my campaign, I've tried to meet with as many department directors as I could. And talking with a lot of them, another theme came up. Danny mentioned a really good one that has also come up, county planner / project manager. So we take on these projects. We don't have anybody really in-house. Outside of Donnie Bear's really a very talented person who can do a lot of roles. But he kind of serves informally as our project manager on construction projects. And we have usually a committee the mayor puts together. So you know, maybe an in-house project manager / county planner We also do not have an HR department for a county that has over 400 employees. I thought that was fascinating. I think that would go a long way in improving benefits, health insurance, hiring, firing processes. You know, a lot of the HR necessities that go on in your normal companies that have that many employees, we need in the county. So those are a couple things, and then transparency was a good one that I've been beating on, you know, as far as I started my campaign back 6-7 months ago. Just having a better website, information showing you exactly where your tax dollars are going, charts showing you how much money's going here versus here, so that everybody's aware. You know, you're paying in just like everybody else, so you should be able to tell and be able to reply back to people just as easily as I can where all the money's going. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to our next question, so this will begin with Mr. Williams. Experience. What background and experience have prepared you to manage the day-to-day operations of county government beginning on your very first day in office?
Thank you. So I feel like I'm the only candidate that has the quality, that actually has the experience to do this job. I've said before, I'm the only one with the executive branch experience. I've been the mayor of White Bluff for 8 years. I have sat on the county commission in 2 separate stints for 10 years. I've owned a business here in Dickson County for 25 years. So in that role, you know, I've from the ground up know how to manage a budget, how to make payroll. So all those things I'm very knowledgeable about. I've also, in that time, I've sat on the planning and zoning board for 8 years, so I understand planning and zoning. So from that standpoint, I really believe that I'm the only candidate here that can step in day one and make a smooth transition. And I'm the only candidate that has county government experience. So I know the department heads, I know the county commission, I know the elected officials, I have relationships with them. So I think I would be the most qualified to be able to step in that day one.
Thank you. Mr. Weaver, what background and experience have prepared you to manage the day-to-day operations of county government beginning on your very first day in office?
Well, I have, in my lifetime, been responsible for a $10 million retail store. I know that, I'm trying to be polite, so I'm gonna, let me refocus myself. I had a professor once that told me that if you want to be able to do anything, you learn the language. I know the language of politics. And so I think that, and I believe and I know that on day one, I'm capable of stepping in and doing the things that are necessary. Money is money. You know, how you manage money is no different whether I'm running a retail store or whether I'm running Dickson County. I know that from a retail standpoint that I'm dealing with merchandise. From a public standpoint, I'm dealing with public money. I think that we need to be more efficient about how we spend our money in Dickson County. I drive a school bus, as you know, so I get to see a lot of Dickson County. I get to see a lot of what we're spending and what we're not spending and what we're not, as far as infrastructure is concerned. We got a lot of goat trails that we need to straighten out. But as far as people in government and in departments, relationships are important. But I think we spend a lot of time talking about money and these things, and really we need to be talking about how we're going to affect people's lives.
Thank you. Mr. Shepherd, do you want to repeat?
Now you got the young table over here. So experience, it's a good question. It comes up a lot. I get it. So I am a younger candidate as well as Caleb, and you know what we may lack in experience, I think we've got in good judgment. I'll speak for myself, and Caleb can speak for himself, but he seems like a guy with some good character and judgment. So throughout my career, throughout my education, I've tried to push myself to do as much leadership as possible with whatever entity I was in, whatever role I'm in, whether it was, like I mentioned earlier, I was student body president at the high school, I got into UT, became a leadership role, served as president of my engineering fraternity there, and then in graduate school served as a board member as well for our graduate school program. And then outside of that, served in several leadership roles with my companies, and was chosen to open offices in Tennessee for 2 different companies I worked for in the past. So that I was the first person they hired in the state of Tennessee to start offices for their engineering companies. So I thought that was a significant role because it put me in charge of selecting the people that we were going to work with and open our office with. Very important. And throughout my career, I've managed several multi-million-dollar projects, from construction teams with 200 plus people to multi 3 or 4 year projects at school systems and county government. So managing people across construction teams or managing budgets that are $10, $15 million is nothing foreign to me. And so I think, serving as a county mayor, yeah, it's going to be a new role for any of us, right? Perhaps you've been a city mayor before, but I think county mayor is a big step up, and I think I'm ready for the role.
Thank you. Mr. Wright?
Yeah, again, a great question that we get asked often while we're on the campaign trail. When I was 18 years old, I was appointed a deputy director in city government. And so I've been around in city government for a number of years despite my youth. I have worked with, as I mentioned earlier, 39 different municipalities, 17 different county governments on a regular basis. I've written and managed grants for the state and federal level. I've served on numerous boards for nonprofits, educational organizations. I've served as the Tennessee representative on the Southeastern Library Association board before. I have been involved in different political appointments for a variety of years. I manage my own business day in, day out. Just recently stepped down as the managing partner, as I mentioned earlier. And that's not only in my business managing your staff, it's managing your clientele. We have a clientele of 1,500 that we do regular work for. And so we have to manage that appropriately. And so it seems like throughout my life, no matter what I do or when I take a step back, I always end up coming into some leadership role of some kind, because it's part of who I am as an individual. It's part of the skills that have been entrusted to me by good leaders over my lifetime, by good political leaders who taught me and instructed me and helped me learn how to write a budget, how to manage a fund, how to write policy, how to teach policy. Some of the state standards that are used from the Department of State, my name is on those committees that wrote them years ago. And so I've had experience from a young age that I've been able to manage and work. And I believe on day one, I'm just stepping into a new organization that I have a background knowledge in because of my previous experience, that I can work from day one and be able to move this county forward as it needs to.
Thank you. And I leaned away from you because I think our mics were talking. I didn't want you to take that personally, that I scooted away. But I think that's what it was. So I'm going to keep leaning over when you and I are chatting with each other. All right, Mr. Weaver, let's talk about growth and infrastructure. So Dickson County continues to grow, increasing demands on roads, schools, public safety, utilities, and other essential services. So as county mayor, how would you balance responsible growth with investments in infrastructure, and what would be your top priorities?
Oh, this is going to get me in trouble. Because I think we need about a 6-month moratorium on new construction in our county, just to take the time to understand what the impact is truly on our infrastructure. I think the last time we were together, I talked about a little bit about how where I used to live when it rained, that the sewer would be in the road. And so that tells me that we're having trouble maintaining our sewer system. And that comes about because we have all of these new constructions that we knew that was going to happen. I mean, we're just 40 miles from Nashville. It doesn't take 30 years for you to understand that you're going to grow. So for me, I would need to first have about 6 months to just really evaluate what the growth is doing and how we could better, how we could get ahead of it.
So would that be your priority? You have a little bit more time. Is your priority then
That is-
zeroing in on understanding where everything
That is my priority. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
Absolutely, I can. As county mayor, how would you balance responsible growth with investments in infrastructure, and what would be your top priorities?
All right, so I think we need to distinguish infrastructure that we may directly have impact over as a county mayor or county commission, and then some infrastructure that's super important that has to coordinate with the county planning and zoning as well. So as a county, we've got impacts over, of course, roadways, highways, bridges. We've got impact over the landfill. We've got impact on, I call EMS services, infrastructure as well. You're providing critical services that are important with working with the roadways. So you've got EMS services, ambulance and fire, and then outside of the county mayor, you've got wastewater, sewer, stormwater, and your utilities. So the biggest improvement I think we need to make within the county's direct control would be the roadways, and then landfill would probably be a second. So we've got, we've heard different numbers from Camden about the life expectancy of their landfill and where we're going to send our trash. And so we got to address that if they do close in 5 years. If it's 10 years, then we still have to address it in 10 years. So these are important issues. Roadways, we got a lot of congestion y'all probably feel on 46, 70, 96 coming in and out of Dickson. So we're probably gonna have to expand lanes here in the next few 3 to 5 years. Very important, very expensive, takes a lot of coordination. And the EMS services, we've got 3 new 911 addresses a day coming into Dickson County. And that's, of course, that's apartments and townhomes and everything else, but 3 new addresses a day. So think of all the people coming in and the fact that we have to figure out if we've got enough ambulance, fire, and emergency response people to get to these houses, which goes along with our volunteer fire department and the form of our county fire department, our volunteers, and our city fire departments, and all of them working together and coordinating. That's another part of our infrastructure. So I put landfill and roads on top, and then that right underneath EMS services.
Thank you. How would you balance responsible growth with investments in infrastructure, and what would be your top priorities?
Thank you. It's a very interesting question. I think we do need to remind ourselves what the county mayor's role is. A lot of what we're talking about in infrastructure, the county mayor himself does not directly impact. When we're talking about roads, this county has so many highways that are Tennessee state roads, and you have to rely on Tennessee Department of Transportation to be able to make a lot of changes to those situations. And Tennessee Department of Transportation, as a former state employee, no offense to any Department of Transportation employees that may be here, is not always the easiest entity to work with. You always have to take a little extra time when you're working with that part of our state government. And so what the county mayor's #1 priority should be, and my priority would be, is to build proper relationships with the individuals who can affect those situations, like Tennessee Department of Transportation that can help us with our roadways, like working with different grants to help our rural fire departments who can help take on some of the bandwidth of emergency medical services, like working with Tennessee Department of Revenue where there are grants that are available for certain projects that could benefit this county and its infrastructure, like working with our school system that they have what they need to take on any growth that may come of new families moving into the area. The county mayor's role is primarily a financial officer and a relationship builder. As a leader, you're working together with individuals for the better good of this county. And so we need to work with our planning and zoning board to pass what's needed. I personally do not support a moratorium simply because a moratorium would allow or say that if you wanted to deed off part of your land to your child to build a home, you cannot during a moratorium. And so we want to be careful about overextending because we're afraid of growth, when we could work as individuals with relationships to impact everyone better. So that'd be my priority on day one.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me try to break those down into 2 issues. So on infrastructure, let's talk about that. So the utilities, so the water and sewer is managed by the Water Authority of Dickson County. So they're a separate entity under a private act. Tennessee county government has no authority over them. they do not get any tax dollars from the county, so make sure everybody's clear on utilities. On roadways, I think is probably our biggest challenge. So we have 750 miles of county roads. We have 165 bridges. In our budget, we have $1.5 million a year to repave or to repair bridges. We only get $250,000 a year from the state. So we're having to fund all of this by ourselves. So this will be a big challenge, as we can only technically pave, we're only paving about 15 miles a year of county roads, and so you can do the math. So that is going to be a big challenge, is our roadways. And on our TDOT, our highways, TDOTs, if you think, for the people that's lived here for a long time, the last TDOT project that we've had in Dickson County where we've widened the road was Highway 46 in 1992. We've not had a TDOT widening project for 35 years. We've got to get some help. So I will, if I'm elected mayor, I will be at the governor's office, the representative, the senator, whoever, at the state level. We've got to have some projects here. Currently we don't even have a project on the 10-year plan. TDOT puts out a 10-year plan. We don't even have a project. So we've got to get on there. At one time we had 840 that was going to extend over to 96. They were going to widen 46 south of the interstate. They've all been pulled. So that is a big challenge on that. So as far as managing the growth, I touched on that a little bit. We've got to get a planner, a full-time planner in there. And as I've always said, we've got to protect the rural areas. We've got to push the growth to the cities where they have the infrastructure and the services to provide that growth.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Shepherd, you're up, right? I'm keeping track correctly. Okay, good. Keep me honest. Let's talk education. So do you support Tennessee's Education Freedom Program in its current form? Why or why not? And additionally, how would you work with our schools, educators, parents, state leaders to ensure that students have the funding, facilities, and educational opportunities they need?
Okay, good questions. So this is one of my huge platforms, education funding. I do not support the Education Freedom Program in its current form. School voucher program, for those of you that don't know. The reason is, school choice for individual parents, I totally understand. I've got several friends that homeschool, several friends that send their kids to private school. But the way this program's set up with no transparency, which is, again, one of my mottos, highly recommend transparency. So we don't know who all is getting these. We don't know what the test scores are of the students going into these schools. And we don't know if these parents even need these vouchers. So those are huge problems. I think anybody on any political side can agree with. We have the lowest spending per student in the state, in the nation. The state of Tennessee does. Lowest spending per student in the entire nation. Think about that. So we have to support our public schools, or it's going to be a spiral effect downward. We've got to. This voucher program is up to 35,000 voucher applicants now, I believe. It's hundreds, tens of millions of dollars that are going out from our tax dollars are going in to send kids to private school, and we're sitting here and wondering why we can't improve our buildings, our public school buildings, pay our teachers more. So we need to keep this money within our county school systems. We've got 1,700 kids right now that are school age that are not in our schools for various reasons. I think we can recruit a lot of those back, and I've coached a lot of those kids that are homeschooled, and they want to come to public school. Some of them do. And so we just have to offer them the opportunities they want, whether it's the classroom ratio, whether it's the curriculum, whether it's the building and sports infrastructure that they want. So we just got to put money into that, and we'll get the return with quality students.
Thank you.
I agree. I don't support the act as it is currently. I support parents' choice, but not at the taxpayer's dollar. Unfortunately, the county mayor doesn't have a lot to do with that aspect. I would call on each individual citizen, as I myself am one, to speak to your state representatives about this act and what could be done about this in our state senate. But when it comes to working with the local school system, I'm in full support of working with Dr. Sutherland and her team with the local school board about ensuring that our students have what they need. We're impacting the future of Dickson County. I'm a public school kid myself. We had a little bit of what we call school choice where I grew up, and that the city where I was raised was in 2 counties, so you could actually go to either county school system. And my parents chose the one that most parents did not, because they felt it was a better opportunity for me with how the classroom size was and what the school system was able to do with me as an individual. And like I said, at 18, I became a deputy director in city government, so I guess the school system did something right there. But I believe in public education. I believe in working with those in public education to impact future leaders that hopefully are sitting on a panel like this one day, talking to you about why they want to be Dickson County's next mayor. And so we've got to work with the school system on their priorities. We need to help them, if they'll allow, with what projects they might have. We need to help them look at their budget where they can make some changes to impact their students greater. But at the end of the day, that also falls down to the school board level. The county's role is a funding role. And so that's where we work with the school system in tandem there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think a lot of us probably agree on this setting up here. So yeah, I don't agree with the current state voucher program. I believe that public tax money should stay in the public schools, not to go to private schools. I'm a big supporter of public schools. Graduated here in Dickson County, so I'm proud of that. So I think we currently, our school board budget is about $94 million. We have 7,600 kids, so we're spending about $12,000 per student. And so I feel like we're giving them the money that they need to educate our kids. I've always supported the school system. And that money that we're getting, the $94 million I'm talking about, does not include buildings or maintenance. We fund that out of debt service. So, like I said, I'm a big fan of public schools, and will always try to work with the director. Like I said, you know, the mayor doesn't really make any decisions for the students, but we can be a partner and try to help them find money and work with them in ways that they can be better. So that's what I would do.
Yes, absolutely. Do you support Tennessee's Education Freedom Program in its current form, why or why not? And additionally, how would you work with your schools, educators, parents, and state leaders to ensure that students have the funding, facilities, and educational opportunities that they need?
Well, I think we're all in agreement that we don't believe in vouchers. I don't support vouchers. I did it one time in my life, but I don't anymore, because to go to private school, that's a choice, right? It's a choice that we make as parents. And if I make that choice, then I need to be the one to make the sacrifice to send my child there. Public school is suffering. I believe that, I'll give you some props here, Danny. I believe that
Okay.
you guys have done a great job of funding school, but sometimes I think we don't put our money where it's needed. And I think I do a great job already of supporting the school system, and I have a great relationship with those who run the school system. But at the end of the day, we need to make sure, we need to press our congressmen and senators to make sure that public school money stays in public schools.
Thank you. Let's talk quality of life. Mr. Ray, poverty, homelessness, mental health, and access to services affect many families. So what role should county government play in addressing these issues, and how would you measure success over the next 4 years?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. It's something that's concerning to all of us. You know, the county government does not currently play a specific role in those areas. You know, we don't manage a homeless shelter. We don't manage health medical services. In the next budget for the Dickson County government, they have budgeted for a mental health counselor through the court system that will be partially funded through the Dickson County government. So there's been some strides to improvement there. I think where we as a county government and we as individuals can best be involved there is through partnership with organizations that are on the front lines of these issues. You think about a group like Kinsman Redeemer, who's currently in a building project and in a funding project where they're trying to build their facility that will host and house those who are homeless in our community. I think leaning in and supporting other organizations that are on the front line is where our focus should be, so that the county government's not burdened and the taxpayer base is not burdened with these issues, but the needs are still being met. And I think where we would be successful in that is if we can see improvement in our communities, where we see that our streets aren't the same as they are maybe right now as we're driving through on our way to Sonic to pick up our drink on a nice hot day. As we're going around and we're looking and we're seeing what's going on in our community, where we can visibly see improvement happening, where we can visibly see more services coming to our community and being the partner as individuals, I think is successful for us. And I would love to see in 4 years that we're in a better place in partnership with community partners. I'm someone from the nonprofit world, and I see some others in this audience that are from the nonprofit world, and we all understand we survive by not just funding, but partnership. By working together, having people on the front lines, working and being involved in these different organizations. And that's where I, as an individual, have strived in my life to be of service, and would encourage other county individuals to be involved and the county government to lend a hand where they can without burdening the tax base. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Poverty, homelessness, mental health, and access to services affect many families. What role would county government play in addressing these issues, and how would you measure success over the next 4 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have so many nonprofit organizations here, and I've been a lifelong resident here until I decided to run for mayor, and I didn't realize we had so many. So the Help Center is a great organization that does so much for a lot of families in need. Also, as Caleb said, the Kinsman Redeemer, they are supporting the homeless people. They go out daily and give out meals to people. They live in their car, they live in their tent, and so they're currently building a ladies' home down in Valley right now. It's a big issue. I think it's going to continue to grow. So we got to support these, and we do support the Health Center. We support a lot of these nonprofit. In some ways, we do give them money. I feel like in the mental health, I'm really hoping with the new health department that we can have a full-time mental health agent there. I know the sheriff carries the mental health patients down to Nashville, and I know that's a strain on his department. So that's how I would measure success, if we continue to support these nonprofits in any way we can. And I think the community, that's something we can do as a community, not the government. I think our community should step up to that and not rely on the government to fix everything. So that would be my answer.
Thank you. Mr. Weaver.
Homelessness is a big issue in Dickson. Has been for a long time. I agree with Danny. It's not a government issue, but as leaders, we should make sure that it's a priority to our community. I've worked with a couple of homeless organizations here in Dickson. A lack of cohesiveness between organizations is an issue here. We need to come together and work together so that we can better address this issue. I think sometimes we want government to do too much, and a lot of things that we ask government to do is really our responsibility as citizens and just human beings to do for one another. I'm an ex-homeless person, so I know what it takes for people to get off the street. It takes a community to wrap themselves around that person or those people and bring them back to to a level of work. And that's not something your government's going to ever be able to do, because there's so many other things that we need to focus on as government. That's a people issue, and we as people need to come together and address it.
Thank you. I know that we've touched on this partially, but we're going to dig into solid waste. Oh, I always do that when I have to turn it all the way around. I'm so sorry. Ben, don't skip it. Yo, please,
Okay.
please.
All right, so going last, they've touched on a lot of good charities and organizations we've got in the county. And those charities are hugely important, as they mentioned. They fill in a lot of gaps that our county services can serve. We don't have the full-time capability or the expertise. So whether it's the Help Center, the YMCA serving as a storm shelter, Kinsman Redeemers, as they mentioned, there's all kinds of services out there. I encourage you to go out and learn about them so that you, if you find somebody in need, can educate and show them that we've got ability to help them. You know, just this past Saturday at the food pantry, they served several hundred cars. We were in there filling up grocery baskets left and right because people needed groceries, you know, and they can't afford them, or they just need help to get by through the weekend. And our EMS service, just speaking of, you know, poverty, you know, people coming out of the rehab centers and this extra burden on our system, I found out they're doing about a 30% increase in calls versus 8 years ago. But our population has only increased officially by 10%. So you're thinking, all right, where are these people coming from that we're doing all these extra calls for? It's probably people in need that are in poverty or homeless, or leaving, you know, some of these rehab centers without the proper help. They mentioned our hotel motel tax. A lot of that money is in a flexible account that we can spend on nonprofits. We can donate that to the Help Center, to the Y, to other charities. We've got a role at our county jail right now that she works exclusively with inmates to develop a 10 to 12-step plan so they're not experiencing recidivants and going back to jail over and over again. So we've got people that we're putting in great positions. She's only been there a year, so imagine the impact she's going to have in 5 years. You know, you can reduce your jail population. And our senior center, you know, just serving our senior citizens, giving them a place to go. As a county, we support them. I think we give them around $19,000 a year. I think we need to hopefully increase that and offer more services there. Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's stand back over here. I need to get so I can keep track of all y'all and I don't turn my back to you. Let's talk solid waste. Do you support the current solid waste enterprise fund and the $10 per month sanitation fee as it currently operates? Why or why not?
Oh, wow, so that's probably maybe the number 2 or 3 hot topic on the campaign trail. So let me try to explain this. So in 2011, the commission started charging a $10 waste fee, and it was not to settle the lawsuit. So that was told, and that's not true. They created an enterprise fund, and so they started charging everyone that had a resident that had an electric meter $10 a month. And the thought process was, currently we have 10,000 property owners and we have 22,000 electric meters at residents. So the thought process of the commission was, let's put a tax to spread that burden across a lot more people than just the property owners. And so that was the thought process. And I think it was a good one, to not always go to the property owner. So there's been a lot of misconception on that fee. So our landfill budget is around $6 million. We get about $3 million, $3.2 million from the $10 fee, and we get a little over $3 million for commercial people, haulers that bring their trash into the landfill. So with that being said, you know, we've had this in place for 15 years, and so this $10 fee has not went up in 15 years. So I don't know of anything anybody could come up with it hasn't went up in 15 years. So for me, I think it's still a good plan. Now, one thing I can say is that we are being charged about $500,000 from the electric department to collect these fees. And so I have some ideas, if I'm mayor, that I would present to the county commission on maybe ways that, if there's other ways or avenues that we could send that out and not have to pay that. But all in all, I support the enterprise fund and still think that it's better to spread that across 22,000 people instead of 10,000. Thank you.
Can you repeat? Would you like me to repeat? Okay. Do you support the current solid waste enterprise fund and the $10 per month sanitation fee as it currently operates? Why or why not?
So I was asked this question 4 years ago when I ran for mayor. I'm going to give the same answer that I gave 4 years ago. Because the real question was, are you going to get rid of that $10 fee? And my answer to that was, basically, you can't just erase something if you don't know the wherewithal, why it's in place. So Danny has told us why it's in place, and I respect that. But you guys know from the last time that I was here that I'm not a landfill person. There are other ways that we can eliminate our waste, and some of it is we need to look at how we can turn our refuge into revenue. And there are many ways we can do that. And we don't have all the time in the world to discuss that tonight. But if you want to know, just I'll be here for about 5 minutes after all this is over, and I can give you the wherewithal. But here's my opinion about landfills. It's barbaric to bury your trash. And especially when we have so many other different ways that we can do this, and also we can monetize our waste. So again, if you want to know how we can do that, I'll be here for about 5 minutes because I'm going to bed after all this is over. I'm tired. We've been doing this since February.
We appreciate you. We do. Would you like me to repeat, or are you okay?
Go for it.
Okay. Do you support the current solid waste enterprise fund and the $10 per month sanitation fee as it currently operates? Why or why not?
All right, so I came out originally with my campaign and announced this was one of the things I was against because of a lot of things that were just explained. Many people don't understand why it was implemented. Hopefully, after our campaign and the recent explanations, more people will know, but I still guarantee you there will be 80% of Dickson Countyans that don't understand. They think it's related to the lawsuit, the landfill lawsuit, despite our best efforts. So it's also, I feel like it's a regressive tax. You're charging people sometimes double. So if you're in the city of Dickson, which is where the core density of our population is, you're paying city taxes to get your trash picked up, and then you're paying a $10 fee to have your trash picked up. So you're paying twice, and I think that affects the majority of the residents. I think maybe White Bluff has trash service too, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but 25,000 electric pairs is correct, that's what Danny said, but I did confirm with Don Hall that our new current estimate for Dickson Electric to process this bill is now $600,000 that we've got budgeted. So it's even more than I thought it was 6 months ago. And so we can save that immediately by doing this in-house. We could hire one person, maybe 2 people to process this stuff in-house, send out a flat fee maybe, or an adjusted fee with your property tax bill, and it will be less than $120 a year for a majority of the people in the county. I've already run the numbers on that, confirmed them with Mayoral. So those look good, and we can increase tipping fees so that the people that are going to the landfill, the big commercial trucks, are paying more. I know we've increased their rates recently, but we'll increase it again because, again, they're the ones picking up the trash. If they pass it on, they're passing it on to people that need the trash service. So I think that's a fair person to pay that bill. So outside of that, I do not support the enterprise fund for it. I will try to get rid of that as soon as I am elected. Thank you.
I'm fully prepared to be unpopular this evening. It's the fairest fee we pay as Dickson County residents. I can't explain it any other way. If we do away with the fee, your property tax bill will go up by more than $120 to compensate. Because if you think about a quadplex, there are 4 $10 fees on that quadplex. Every entity around us has the same fee, just under another name or another look. Hickman County bills theirs through the trustee's office. It comes with your property tax bill. In Gibson County, where I grew up, it is on your utility bill. It is not a separate bill. There's a memorandum of understanding between the city utility department, which is its own entity under a private act, like our water authority is, excuse me, and there is a understanding between the two that the money is then given over to the city for the waste situation. If you think about any other tax we pay, property tax is not. Every resident in Dickson County, wheel tax, I have friends that have 4 and 5 vehicles. They pay multiple wheel taxes. The fairest fee that we pay as Dickson County residents is the $10 fee. And so I feel it is right to continue. I'm in 100% agreement with pulling you back from Dickson Electric Department. I've actually talked with individuals at Dickson Electric Department, and they are not opposed to that idea either. They don't like dealing with this every month and dealing with the same people, 80%, who will continue to question what the fee is. I mean, I think it is not time to bring it back under the county to save that funding that we're paying out for that. We also have over $1 million in arrears in that. That's not being as actively sought after as it could be, and that could be extra funding for what our county government needs with debt service or other items, or with the landfill situation. So that's my idea about the $10 fee in the situation.
Thank you. Talking about transparency and public trust, so going to Mr. Weaver for this, how would you ensure your administration is open, ethical, and responsive to the people of Dickson County?
Access. I think people need access to government. They need access to the leadership in their government. You know what, I couldn't have told you, and I think I stay pretty abreast to who's running what, but I couldn't tell you on a daily basis who runs our county when it comes to commissioners. We focus on the mayor, but you know there's 12 other people that are responsible for our county, and we put a lot of emphasis on what the mayor does, but he really can't do anything without those other 12 people. So we need to make sure that if we're in a leadership role, that we're visible and accessible to the people of Dickson County. And that doesn't just mean the people that live in your ward, because we should be concerned about Dickson in totality. So access, we need to make ourselves accessible to everyone.
How would you ensure your administration is open, ethical, and responsive to the people of Dickson County? Talking about your transparency word here.
Great, so I was going to address some of this in my closing remarks, so I will go ahead and get it out of the way here. So transparency, again, my big platform, education system, funding it, supporting it as much as we can, getting rid of the $10 fee, and transparency. So what I mean by transparency is, you know, we've done a good job since, I believe, COVID, that may have spurned it. We've got our commission meetings online. They're viewable via live stream, or you can go and watch them afterwards on recordings on YouTube. We've got our minutes available. We've got things on the website you can go check, but the minutes probably need a little work as far as just who's voted for what their historical voting record looked like. If you asked your commissioner, or you wanted to go look it up, what your commissioner voted for, voted against the last 5 years, it'd be very difficult to ascertain unless you talk to them personally. So I think it should be a little clearer on voting records. You should have a little more, actually, so during the voting process at a commission meeting, one thing I would like to do is not publicize the votes out loud during the voting roll call. So I would rather the person vote on a button, and then it's posted to a board next to their name, how they voted after the vote's over, so that the YouTube channel, the video, can pick up their vote. Right now, you can't tell who voted for what, who voted against what, and it's very difficult to figure out the yays and nays. So that's one change. And the other change would be the website. I think we need, like I said earlier, better information about where our tax dollars are going. It's just, serving a web graphics guy, giving him, $10,000 and saying, go to work, get this website up to date, make it look modern, information's easy to find, whether it's your election website, your trustee's office, etc. Thank you.
I spoke about this earlier in the question about what did I believe was the number one change needed in county government at the current time. I think about the City of Dickson's website. City of Dickson does a great job, in my opinion, about listing who board members are, agendas, minutes, etc. It's all easily accessible on one page. Unfortunately, with our county website, it's not that way. This has been mentioned, I mentioned earlier, been mentioned just a moment ago. But one thing that I would first do is let's get that updated. Let's see who our commissioners are for the Planning and Zoning Commission. Let's see who these individuals are on other commissions that are impacting decisions in our county. And let's see when their meetings are. What's the agenda items? What are the minutes of these boards? I mean, these are all public records. We need to remember that. All of these items are public records, and so they should be easily accessible to the public as taxpayers. And so that's a big part for me. But how would my administration strive to be transparent? I think part of it would be having our door open where people can come in and ask questions or call in and ask questions. Does that mean that there's going to be days where you, as mayor, don't get to leave the office because everyone's upset over something? Absolutely. Wait for the next ice storm. You'll get several phone calls. But we need to be willing to take phone calls. We need to be willing to talk to individuals to let them know that we understand a concern they have, and we may not be able to impact it at the current moment. Not to brag on any one individual, but the district that I used to live in, the county commissioner is here this evening, and we were having an issue, and I called Mr. Simpkins, and he had me an answer within just a short period, and I was thankful for that and grateful for that. And that's what I think any servant in our county government should be willing to do, including the mayor's office, and be open and willing at all times, email, phone, etc. I have run into some members in the mayor's office and said, hey, I sent you an email a week ago. Okay, we'll get back to you shortly. I don't believe that's right as public government officials. Thank you.
Yeah, so for transparency, if I was elected mayor, I would continue, we do have the meetings posted on YouTube, so those are live and they're recorded for people that can't watch it live, can go back. We do that for our commission meeting, we do that for our planning commission as well. And so one thing that was big for me when I was mayor of White Bluff is just always having that open door policy, just letting everybody know that this door is open, you can come in anytime. One big thing is returning, phone calls and emails. Just making sure I'm not as big on email as I really like to talk on the phone to people, and I really like to see people face to face. People behind the screen sometimes seem to be a little bit more aggressive, but so just, hey, come see me. That's the way I would be. And one of the things I was proud of in White Bluff that also, when I was elected to county commission, as we've done this time, is the rezoning request. So years ago, you were going to have a property rezoned, and they would come out and put a little 2x2 sign in the yard saying this property's going to be rezoned. And so we went the extra step, and we started sending certified mail to every property owner that touched that property. And so several years ago, when I come on the county commission, that was one of the things that we were able to get pushed through. So, if you live on one road and the property behind you faces another road, at least you're going to get a letter in the mail that's certified that saying, hey, the property behind you is going to be rezoned, even though they got a sign over on their property. You may not know it. So things like that is just making sure that the public knows what's going on. And those are the things that I would continue to do.
Perfect. We have time for probably one more question before we get into the end. So I'm going to turn back around here and ask Mr. Shepherd, what's one thing that you think that the current county government is doing well?
All right, so doing well. I think there's a lot of things. I've complimented them in the past. I've talked about this before, and some of you may be familiar. We were in a bad financial spot, honestly, 16 years ago. Several factors. There's no one issue that did it, but we took on a lot of debt with our jail expansion. May have gotten in a hole with that, and that's one reason why we had to do the enterprise fund with a $10 fee, is so we could free up some of our property taxes to help pay off the debt for the jail. And we're still paying that off. And so the Mayoral, he came in, of course, with that background in finance and accounting and banking, and really took an emphasis on, producing the proper cash flow, cutting waste where he could, and tightening the belt and getting us back under good financial health. And we are, I would say, are back there today. Now, we've got different people that may disagree with the amount of debt we take on as a county, and right now we're at around $80 million before we consider what the school system is asking for with their debt. But that is still, I know that number seems like a gargantuan amount for some people, but if you look at it, how the mayor looks at it, how the state comptroller's office looks at it, they have recommendations. They look at your property values in your county and say, hey, 8% of your property values, that's where you start needing to hit the brakes on taking on more debt. And we're not near that. We're at 4% right now, even with the school's request for their funding for the school upgrade. So I think the county is doing a good job. We're taking on decent debt, decent interest rates and bond rates, and we're supporting the schools and our building stock with that process. We're starting a new agriculture center. It's a huge project. We're just finishing up our health department. That's another piece of debt we're taking on, but it's going to be a great asset to the county.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is a great question. There are a number of things that are going well in our county right now. If I had to pinpoint one that I would brag on or talk about for just a few moments, I think would be our first responders. I have talked to a number of first responders here lately, and some of them are my clients who have worked outside of Dickson County. They've worked for neighboring entities, and they've come back because of improvements, because of the way situations are here now. I'm thankful that we have a good EMA service where if someone's having a heart attack, there's a pretty good response time in Dickson County. Humphreys County, our neighbor, doesn't have as good a response time. As a matter of fact, Dickson County is responding to some of those calls on the eastern side of Humphreys County. I grew up in West Tennessee. The average wait time for a heart attack in most counties in south portion of West Tennessee is 45 minutes. And so our county has done well in supporting our emergency medical services, in supporting our sheriff's office, in supporting our first responders that are on the front lines. And that's something that as mayor I would continue to do, and even see if we could increase that to some degree. Because at the end of the day, when you're in your scariest moment of your life, what do you want to happen when you call 911? Someone's there answering the phone, someone's coming quickly. And our county does a good job at that so far, and I would like to see that continue to increase and thrive here in Dickson County.
Thank you.
Yes, just to touch a little bit, I think Ben touched on it. When Mayoral come into office 16 years ago, the first month, he had to borrow $1 million to make payroll. So you could imagine what it would be like to walk in the first day and say, hey, we can't make payroll. And so to be able to step in and to figure the finances out, we currently today have $20 million in our fund balance in our rainy day fund. So that shows you what kind of financial shape we're in. We have a AAA bond rating, which means that we can borrow money at a really low interest rate. And also, I think one of the biggest things is probably the emergency services. Of course, the EMS, we've done a lot for them, but also the rural fire service. So when Mayoral took place, there was no full-time rural fire service. And so today we have 11 full-time firemen that are here working to be able to protect the areas in the county. Our county, for the most part, is served by volunteer firemen. And so that's been one big thing that I think we've done really well. So I would say the finances and the emergency services is really what I think the county's really done good.
Thank you. Mr. Reed, what's going well?
Well, you know, it's all been taken. No, but I'm very impressed on how we fund schools here in Dickson County. I think we do a really good job of making sure that the school system has what it needs. Now, once it gets out of our hands, once money gets out of the commission's hands, you know, somebody else's responsibility to put it in the right place. But I believe that the county commission and the mayor have done a great job setting our schools up to, as far as funding is concerned. They have the money they need, is all I'm saying. So I'm very, because education is so important in one's community. And I believe that we make that a priority in this community.
Thank you. All right, the time has come to give your final words to those that are out here, so I will begin with you.
Well, again, thank you for coming out here this evening. I want to thank 101.5, The Ride, and the Dickson County Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Jenny and her team for hosting this tonight. Thank you, Alex, for being here and moderating for us. It's always a pleasure. Thank you. Again, I believe I have the background that fits the county mayor's role. I believe between my service on different nonprofits and different boards, I have the ability to come in and build those relationships and partnerships to work together for the better of our county. Are there things that need to be improved or changed? Sure, I believe so. You know, I mentioned transparency multiple times tonight. I am concerned about our debt that we're taking on, that we need to be careful because we don't want a property tax increase in the next few years. So that comes with proper management of that budget. I think we could do a little more maybe in helping our rural fire departments, those volunteer fire departments that are on the front lines helping. And sometimes that's not that we're helping them with county funding, but we're lending a hand to help them find grants that can help them or maybe be a facilitator for a grant. Because sometimes it has to come through the government entity and then can funnel to those departments. And so those are things I'd like to see happen in the first few days of my term if elected as county mayor. But can I just honestly ask you to please go out and vote? I realize there are people in this room who are not going to vote for me, and they're not going to vote for others on this panel. You've already made your decision. But I'm asking you to vote. We live in a county that has over 50,000 residents. Less than 35,000 are registered. We will probably have at max 12,000 go vote if the last few county elections are any indicator. The last several counties elections have been between 9,000 and 12,000 voters. So please get out and vote. You're electing your next commission and mayor. There's going to be changes in Dickson County. Let your voice be heard that you're part of it. And I would humbly ask you to consider voting for me, even when early voting starts this Friday, the 17th, or on Election Day on August 6th when you vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, just in closing, let me say thank you for coming out and being engaged in this process. This is a big election for Dickson County. You know, electing a new mayor, first time in 16 years. So again, I believe I'm the most qualified. I have served as a mayor, been on the county commission, been a business owner here in Dickson County. So I know the challenges. I know how to lead people. I know how to build teams. And I really feel like that I will be ready on day one to be able to step in and make this a very smooth transition. And again, for the ones, I just would like to ask for your vote. And again, you know, like Caleb said, just get out and vote. It's important. And really one thing that I didn't get to touch on is one of the questions that come up I was hoping to, but one of the things I really want to work on is how we can continue to build and make Dickson County a great place to live. And so one of the statistics, you know, we have 15,000 people that get up every morning and leave Dickson County to go to work in another county. And so how can we attract businesses, to professional businesses to stay here, you know, and build a business park? And those are the things that I want to concentrate on, because if we can keep those people here in Dickson County, they're going to spend their money here in Dickson County and not in another county that they're working in. So that's one thing that I wanted to touch on. But again, my time's running out. Thank you again for coming out, and I ask for your vote. Early voting starts this Friday. Election day is August the 6th. So thank you very much.
I want to thank you for just having this opportunity to come out tonight and share it with you. I want to thank everyone that put this together. Dickson is definitely a great place to live. There's so much to do here in Dickson, and it's just an honor just to be sitting here tonight, knowing that I grew up here, I went to school here, went to college other places, but every time and every opportunity that I've had to move from Dickson, I've always found myself back here. And you know, you guys really need to go out and vote, and you need to encourage your friends and your family to vote. We need to stop just allowing a handful of people to determine our destiny. This is a real important election. And I think any of the four of us sitting here will do a great job of being mayor. You guys be safe going home. And like I said, I'll be here about 5 minutes after if you have any more questions for me. Just know that where you live, this city that you live in, this county that you live in, is unique, and we have an opportunity to make it better. It's a great place, but there's some things that we can do better. And I hope that I'm the person that you decide that you want to do better with.
Thank you.
All right, check one. All right, we're still working. So thank you all for coming out tonight. Just a great crowd. It's been an honor to do this campaign and have people support me that I had no idea who they were beforehand, but they just came out, they believed in my message, they believed in what Dickson can be and how we can lead this county forward. And my family's fully committed. Like I said, I've got 3 kids here in the school system, planning on being here as long as I can. My wife's going to teach as long as she can. She probably wants to quit in a couple of years, but I hope she's got 10 more in her. But people may say, oh, Ben, you're young, or oh, Caleb, you're young, but you know who's from this county? Frank Clement. How old was he when he was elected governor? 32 years old when he was elected governor. So young people can serve too. Experience does matter to a certain degree, but after a while, after your first 6 months, you're pretty much, as long as you got a good head on your shoulders, you got good judgment, good character, good integrity, you can figure it out. And I figured out a lot of things in my life for the first time, whether it's job related, personal, you know, it's just like raising kids, you're gonna figure it out. So I'm extremely fiscally responsible. I've got a great judgment and character, integrity. In my first 6 months, I'll commit to this. I'm gonna get rid of the $10 fee if the commission allows. I'm going to meet with every department head, and we're gonna figure out what they need, where they can save money, if possible, with better processes. I want to establish an HR department, like I mentioned, and I hope to update, like I said, the information on the websites and available to you all. So I'm running as an independent because I believe we just don't need partisanship in our local elections. We haven't ever had it, and we don't need it now. It's unfortunate we spend so much money running a primary. I think we all could have ran in August, and it just been the same. Regardless of who you support, like they mentioned, grab your friends, your coworkers, people you go to church with, and take them to vote. And like Caleb said, I hope we can get up to, you know, even a 20% turnout would be fantastic, 25% of our registered voters. So thank you. I encourage you to vote for me, but if not, just please go vote. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being here as well. I think now it's appropriate.